Welcome to Jurassic World.
Guests, welcome to Jurassic World Minute, where we'll be visiting Jurassic World 1 minute at a time. Our helicopter tours are currently closed due to unforeseen circumstances. I'm Brad.
I'm Dave.
And here we're back to discuss Minute 14 of Jurassic World. And I just remembered we didn't discuss what a Pepsisaurus is going to look like. Oh well.
It's got the cylindrical body, and then it's got the tail with some Stegosaurus spikes. There's Pepsi on the side.
A big red and blue dot on the side of it. Heading over to Jurassic-Pedia.com, we have an article up here for the man himself, CEO of the Masrani Corporation, Simon Masrani. Again here with a lot of the character bios on the Pedia, his whole involvement in the film. A bit of backstory here too with his communications company and his father's death in 1992, which interesting year before Jurassic Park.
Mm-hmm. It's something that I remember is kind of a point of contention with the fans when the movie first came out, was that Masrani says that he was tasked with Hammond to fulfill his dying wish, and that he was a dear friend. And it was always kind of brought up that Hammond's, basically the last time we saw Hammond, he wanted these animals left alone. And never do we ever really get this feeling that he kind of would flip on that and want the park again. And so it's kind of this weird kind of plot hole that, was Masrani really that close to Hammond as he claims? Is he just kind of bluffing? I mean, you know?
Yeah, we can do a deep dive next minute when he brings that up in the helicopter to Claire, what possibly went on there. But it's I don't know if it's something that if they just wanted Hammond's name mentioned in the film and that's why they've done it, or because he could clearly have come in after Hammond died and purchased InGen, realised or found out what they'd been up to and gone, hey, we can make money off this. Especially with his character in the film, he's more so how the animals and that sort of stuff are not really focused on the money side of things, but the fact that he dies, well, he still died because he brought all this back to life, or still continued the legacy of InGen, like Ludlow and that before him. So yeah, quite an extensive write-up here on Simon Masrani, and there's a lot of stuff over at the... is the Masrani Global site still active?
I don't know. I don't think I've ever... No, it's not. I remember it did finally get taken down. I know that the quote-unquote DPG kind of re-uploaded the Jurassic World site, but it's kind of in its post-Jurassic World incident disarray. So it's still... I mean, it's there. I think it was more the popularity of the site itself led Universal to basically re-upload it. But yeah, the Masrani site I do believe went down. Because
we had the whole hacker thing, and then the that info come forward from DPG about the lists and that sort of stuff. I wonder if that's...
I'm going to eat my words. I just looked it up. It's here. It's all here.
Okay.
My bad.
Oh, back to my initial thought then. A lot of backstory on Masrani and that on that Masrani Global website as well. A lot of the companies involved.
And, of course, they've got but I mean, being a viral site, it's got a bunch of stuff here that's not even in the movie. It's kind of touched upon, like, how we have engine technologies, Jurassic World, but then there's also Masrani Energy, where they're basically oil drilling and sustainable energy. And then they've got telecom, where he's got the communications, weather, navigation. Let's see, look into that. Yeah, 94% of the globe.
Yeah, we get that line from Hoskins later in the film. That he's got his fingers in so many things he doesn't even know what he's running now.
Yeah. And then, of course, he's got paramilitary contracts through InGen, who probably already had... He probably more or less inherited the military contracts that InGen would have had, basically. You know?
Yeah.
Because I think when a company buys out another company, they buy out the contracts that company possessed. Which would, if Jen had any contracts with with the military, they would have gotten that because they have a lot of military surplus vehicles like Humvees, Unimogs, stuff like that.
Yeah, we get to see a lot, and even newer troop transport vehicles, and that we get to see in this film and the next as well. Still got no idea what happened in that gap with InGen though between 97 after the San Diego incident. We know they were brought out, but yeah, I don't know how the governments or people would sort of go to them if they'll hands were tied dishing out money for damages and all that. But and it's interesting here in this article too, the using Timac construction to build Jurassic World. I can't wait till we get to that Indominus pen later because that's Timac construction stickers all over some of the stuff there. So that's over at Jurassic-Pedia.com. Heading over to IMDb for Irrfan Khan. Sadly, a few weeks ago he did pass away, which is a shame. Now we're getting to him in the film, but a lot of credits here, most of which I haven't seen. 151 credits, so I know he was pretty prolific in the Bollywood scene before making his transition to America.
I do know that as well. So yeah, he's got like a ton of Bollywood credits here, and I think he was still doing Bollywood even as he was still I wouldn't say transferring, but as he was getting into Hollywood as well.
Well, yeah, and even up until being diagnosed with his sickness and up until his death now, he's got a film that's coming out this year. I don't know if it's been released yet. It looks like a Bollywood film. And a short from last year and a couple of films from 2018 as well. So he was still working right up, or a lot of the way up to the end. But after sort of Jurassic World, I recognise him in some stuff now. The original Amazing Spider-Man and that, see him in there. But sort of, I don't want to go into the whole racing was sort of a left turn from the CEOs and the corporate. We've always seen that the Hammonds, the white rich men in charge of things, and here's Masrani coming in. We know from the actor of being Indian heritage. I don't know if there's anything on that Masrani site that sort of talks about his upbringing and that, but
I was actually just kind of thumbing through it just now.
Perfect.
And he does have a quote down here. Hold on, let me see if I can find where it is. Let's see, it was under investors, I think. There was a quote under here where he says, "Following in the footsteps of my father to make this company into a global corporation has been a lifelong goal. I have nothing but the investors of this company to thank, for they have joined me in this vision." And it's kind of weird because all the other people here who are basically on the board, so to speak, they kind of created interesting cast of characters here. That we don't really know much about them, but they've got names and positions, quotes, and let's see. CEO's message, but yeah, it's kind of interesting that they went through all of this, and then these people don't even exist within an on-screen presence,
Well, that they don't exist on screen, but they definitely are felt on screen with what goes on at the start of Fallen Kingdom, with having to face the fact that Masrani's dead, the CEO's dead, and the 800 million in damages. Yeah. But Irrfan Khan, back off that tangent. I wouldn't mind checking out some more of his stuff. I still need to see Slumdog Millionaire and Life of Pi. I know they sound like good films. I just need to get to do it.
Life of Pi is a beautifully done film. It's got a lot of CGI moments, but it's also very visually stunning. I'd say very much in the vein of Avatar in that way, because it's got a lot of these glowing scenes and stuff like that. It's a very beautiful film.
No,
I definitely see that one.
Yep, I'll check it out.
How's my park doing?
Great. We're up 2.5% over last year, a bit lower than our initial projection.
No. How is it doing? Are the guests having fun? Are the animals enjoying life?
Well, guest satisfaction is steady in the low 90s. We don't have a way to measure the animals' emotional experience.
Sure you do. You can see in their eyes, right?
Of course.
Okay. Now show me my new dinosaur.
All right, Dave, ready to get into minute 14.
Yep.
As we enter minute 13 of Jurassic World, Jurassic 1 was coming into land, giving us a beautiful view over this Nublar resort. As we open on minute 14, the helicopter circles around behind the command building and lands on the helipad. At the 7-second mark, we cut to Claire waiting in the stairwell for the helicopter to land. Then she runs out, hair blown back by the wind and the gusts of the rotors, and climbs aboard. As she enters the helicopter, she sees Simon Masrani at the controls. Says, "Mr. Masrani, you're flying." At the 26-second mark, Simon turns and asks Claire how's his park doing. But Claire mistakes the question for how much the park's doing financially, and not how entertained the guests or happy the animals are. Claire says that the visitor satisfaction is steady, but they have no way of measuring whether or not the animals are having fun. At the 50-second mark, he turns his face forwards again and rubs his hands together. Says, "Okay, now show me my new dinosaur." And as the minute ends, Claire braces herself in the back seat as the helicopter starts to rock back and forwards as Simon Masrani takes off.
As we open on minute 14, we get Jurassic 1 banking around behind the helipad there, giving its passengers a full view out over the island and the visitor area. It also allows Claire to be able to come out of the lift here at the top of the helipad and walk out to the side of the helicopter. It's sort of interesting. We know from the ferry terminals and the park brochure that the island has helicopter tours, and this helicopter is registered as Jurassic 1. We don't see any other commercial aircraft or helicopters in the film. Did Masrani commandeer the sightseeing helicopter? Did they send the sightseeing helicopter to the mainland to pick him up and bring him back?
He does own it, so he does own it, so we do know that he's getting his pilot's license here, so it may be that he requested the instructor there to fly to Nublar and then come back with a helicopter that he could fly back.
But he's a billionaire.
What's that?
He's a billionaire. Like, if you go get your motorcycle license, normally because you just brought a motorbike or you're about to buy a motorbike, like, surely you go and buy a sleek new helicopter. And this is a pretty sleek new looking helicopter, but
yeah,
go and buy something and put the Masrani Global's logo or something on the side, and not just commandeer a helicopter you've already got.
But at the same time, he owns it, so
yeah.
I don't think he really cares. He's got all the toys. He can play with any toys he wants at this place,
Yeah, true.
And even then, Harrison Ford, he's worth a lot of money. He's in trouble with the FAA.
Oh, that man's gonna die in a plane crash.
He's trying so hard.
It's interesting that Claire's not upset that she's taking an asset away from the guests here, where we've just seen her upset that the Western Plains are closed, and now that
Yeah, but you can be upset with the with your underlings. You can't be upset with the CEO.
yeah.
That's kind of the perks of being the CEO.
Yeah, true. But as she walks up on the helipad here to the helicopter, you can see her hair's clearly being blown all over the place as she approaches, and as soon as she enters the helicopter, it's nice and neat, which I'd assume this is just on a set here, because you don't really see much outside the helicopter while they're talking.
It could be, but, I mean, they did actually film, I don't think it was Irrfan Khan flying it, but they did actually film the helicopter landing and all of that, so... I mean, so long as they're sitting on the tarmac, I don't see any reason why they couldn't just sit in the helicopter, you know?
Yeah, I'm trying to think back now to the photos at Real Tours, because I remember they had video on that of this helicopter approaching and departing, doing a few touchdowns and that on that helipad set. And we do know that the actors were in... Well, I suppose... No, because all the stuff with Masrani flying could be rear protection or CG.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, that I think is definitely not him flying, but I mean, them just sitting in the helicopter, if they're not going anywhere, I don't see any reason why they couldn't just sit in there, you know?
Yeah, but I'm just wondering if he was even in Hawaii for any of the shoot.
He was in Hawaii because they were at the Indominus.
Oh, yes, that's all right. I was trying to pick a scene of him not in something. Yeah, definitely. But as enter Simon Masrani here as Claire gets in the helicopter, takes off his sunglasses and welcomes her. There, Claire moves across the far seat and she looks scared. Mr. Masrani, you're flying, which you can sit up the front and don't have to be a pilot or flying. Maybe she just knows that normally when she's flying this helicopter, the pilot's been in the other seat, not where Masrani is.
Mm-hmm. Well, again, she's probably surprised. She probably didn't even know that he was probably trying to get his pilot's license. So she's just surprised to see him in the pilot seat in general.
Well, again, you'd expect the CEO to be in the back seat.
Exactly, yeah.
Glass of wine waiting for her or something, where this is more of the Tony Stark, I'll get in and do this myself sort of thing. But that's where he replies, I got my license. And we have a shot here of a rather cool looking pilot with his aviators there, holds up his fingers, 2 more. And I thought, yeah, 2 more days. Well, in the novel it said 2 more tests, and Simon says 2 more tests as well, but I didn't get the... I don't know if it's the accent he's using or... I thought he'd said something else, but apparently he has 2 more tests, so... Which I haven't looked into what you'd need to do to be a helicopter pilot, how many tests there would be, but if there's 2 more tests, maybe he's got 2 more attempts to pass a test, or... Because we see he's not that proficient, he can do the basics, and we're going to definitely bring it up later on when they go after the Indominus, but... But then too, we do know that Nublar is pretty windy, the wind shears and all that. So maybe not entirely his fault.
Well, I mean, I doubt they're actually testing on Nublar. You know, I'm sure they have a facility that they test pilots at, and he goes there. You know.
Yep. But he turns to face her and asks how is his park doing, and Claire's buckling up a seatbelt and says, "Great, we're up 2%, or 2.5% over last year, which is a bit lower than an initial projection. So they're aiming high, but not quite getting there with the attendance."
That just reminds me of how I work. I mean, everybody's out of work right now, so they're all going to the hardware store to get stuff for home projects and fix up the home. And so our sales are through the roof right now. And I don't know. They'll probably expect us to do this again next year and conveniently forget the whole reason their sales are through the roof right now in the first place. And I can just imagine my managers pulling their hair out trying to get our sales numbers up, knowing full well that the only reason our sales numbers are up right now is because everybody's home.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. Everyone goes to work and projects get stopped. There's materials laying everywhere, and all of a sudden, no one's got time to do anything anymore. But Simon cuts her off here and says, "No, how's it doing? Are the guests having fun? Are the animals enjoying life?" And Claire says, "Well, guest satisfaction is a steady low 90s." So I'm guessing that's like a 90%, like it's like the tomato meter. We don't have any way to measure the animal's emotional experience. She was thrown a little bit by that one, but Masrani says, "Sure you do. You can see it in their eyes." Which makes me wonder how one-on-one he's been with the animals. We know back in the day Hammond wanted to be there for the birth of every living creature. I'm sure he's visited the nursery and hatchery and maybe even seen some of the animals out in the wild as well, but it seems here like he has been up close with them at times.
I think he definitely has. I mean, you own a dinosaur park and you don't at least visit once in a while. I mean, what kind of dinosaur park owner are you, right?
Yeah.
And of course, being as the owner of Masrani Global, he has, I'm sure, VIP access. He gets to go up close. He gets to touch them, look them in the eye, ask questions. Why is this guy drooling? Oh, they just do that, sir.
After hours, when the attractions are closed, you got access to this sort of stuff. But then Simon turns and rubs his hands. He goes, "Okay, show me my new dinosaur." So he's here to see the Indominus. That's the whole reason he's here. He knows that the new attraction's here. And as the minute ends, he pulls back on the yoke and the helicopter sort of shakes as it tries to take flight and scaring Claire.
Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like how he says it. He's just like, sorry, I didn't mean to. Okay, let's go.
Yeah. We do get some great stuff from Masrani throughout the film, and I can't wait until we get some more minutes going forward with him.
And that's why it's just such a loss that we lost such a treasure in Irrfan Khan. I mean, he's a great actor. I've always liked his. I've never not liked the role he's in.
Yeah. But it's sort of hard to think of how going forward, if he even survived the film, how he'd fit into Fallen Kingdom, because he'd be the headline for all the inquiries and all that sort of stuff.
And it's not like he's Hammond's age where he can use health issues as an excuse to duck the cameras, Yeah.
Whether Masrani Global would still exist in a world where he hadn't died. 800 million is a big hit.
Well, that's kind of the big elephant in the room, isn't it? Because we never really get that answer in Fallen Kingdom. We never know what happens to InGen, Masrani Global. We know they're up their ass with lawsuits, but we don't really know what's become of them as an entity, And the Masrani site kind of has been left by Universal in this perpetual post-Jurassic World incident state. It's not had a kind of a revival with Fallen Kingdom where they've kind of done this PR and okay, this is what we're gonna do. This is how we're gonna make investors happy. They never did any of that. You go on